rain hadn't stopped in 3 days. It clung to the windows of the old house like a warning, blurring the outside world into something distant and unreachable. Inside, everything was still, too still. The kind of silence that settles when something has already gone terribly wrong. Elena stood in the kitchen, staring at the letter in her hands for what must have been the 100th time. The paper was creased now, softened by the pressure of her grip. She didn't need to read it again. Every word had already carved itself into her memory. I didn't mean for it to happen this way. That was how it started. A weak beginning for a devastating truth. Her husband, Daniel, had been careful. Or at least, he thought he had. Late nights at work, guarded phone calls, the sudden attention to his appearance, it all felt cliché in hindsight. But love has a way of dulling suspicion. Until it doesn't. Elena hadn't discovered the affair by accident. No, she had felt it first. A shift. A distance. Like standing beside someone whose soul had quietly stepped away. The confirmation came later, a message left open, a name she didn't recognize. Mia. At first, Elena had done nothing. She watched, she listened, she learned. The truth unfolded slowly, painfully, like peeling away skin to expose something raw underneath. Mia wasn't just anyone, she was someone Elena knew, someone she had welcomed into her home. That betrayal burned deeper than anything Daniel had done. The letter trembled slightly in her hand as she walked into the living room. The fire had gone out hours ago, leaving behind cold ash. She didn't bother relighting it. Instead, she sat down and let herself remember. The first time she met Mia, it was at a dinner party. She had seemed kind, attentive, almost too interested in everything Elena said. Daniel had barely looked at her that night. At least that's what Elena had thought. Now she wondered what had really been happening behind those subtle glances. How long had it gone on? Weeks? Months? Or had it begun that very night under Elena's own roof? A floorboard creaked upstairs. Elena didn't move. She knew Daniel was there. He had come home late again, assuming she would be asleep. Assuming everything was still hidden. He didn't know about the letter. He didn't know she had already spoken to Mia. A faint smile touched Elena's lips, but there was no warmth in it. Mia had been surprisingly honest. Perhaps guilt had loosened her tongue. Or perhaps she had simply underestimated Elena. Either way, she had told her everything. How it started, where they met, what they planned. Yes, planned. That was the part that changed everything. This wasn't just an affair, it was an escape. Daniel had been preparing to leave her, to take money, disappear, start over, with Mia. Elena closed her eyes, breathing slowly. The pain had come first, then the anger. Now there was something else, something colder, something precise. Footsteps approached the stairs. Elena? Daniel's voice carried down, cautious. She didn't answer immediately. She let him come to her. Let him step into the room and see her sitting there in the dim light, the letter resting calmly in her lap. He froze when he saw her. Something in her expression must have given it away. "What's going on?" he asked, though his voice lacked conviction. Elena tilted her head slightly. "You should tell me." Silence stretched between them. Then his eyes flicked to the letter, and everything changed. The color drained from his face. "Elena, I can explain." "No," she interrupted softly. "You can't." He took a step forward. "It's not what you think." A small laugh escaped her. "That's the problem, Daniel. I know exactly what it is." He stopped moving. The rain intensified outside, tapping harder against the glass. "How long?" she asked. He hesitated. That was answer enough. Elena nodded slowly. I spoke to her, you know. That got his attention. What? Panic crept into his voice. When? Earlier today. And? She told me everything. Daniel ran a hand through his hair, pacing now. Elena, listen to me. This isn't... It's complicated. It's not complicated, she said, her tone still calm. You betrayed me. Both of you did. He stopped pacing. I never meant to hurt you. That's funny, she replied, because you planned to. Silence again, heavy, suffocating. Then Elena stood. I made dinner, she said suddenly. Daniel blinked, confused. What? It's in the kitchen. He stared at her. Now? Yes, now. There was something unsettling about the way she said it, something final. But he followed her anyway. The kitchen smelled faintly of herbs and wine. The table was set for two. Candles flickered gently, casting shadows that danced across the walls. Daniel hesitated at the doorway. What is this? A last meal, Elena said. He frowned. What are you talking about? She gestured for him to sit. Slowly, uncertainly, he did. Elena poured wine into both glasses. Her movements were steady, controlled, too controlled. Daniel picked up his glass but didn't drink. Elena, you're scaring me. She met his gaze. Good. The word landed like a stone. He set the glass down. What did you do? He asked. Elena smiled faintly. Nothing you didn't deserve. His breath caught. Elena! But it was already too late. A sharp pain twisted through his stomach, then another. He gasped, clutching the table as the realization hit him. You, he choked. She watched him calmly as he struggled, as panic overtook him, as his body began to fail. There was a time, she said quietly, when I would have forgiven you. He collapsed from his chair, hitting the floor hard. You didn't just betray me, she continued. You planned to erase me. Daniel's vision blurred. Eleanor, please. She knelt beside him. No, she said softly. This is where it ends. The rain finally began to ease. By morning, the world outside looked almost clean. Inside the house, everything was silent once more. Elena stood by the window, watching the clouds drift apart. On the table behind her, 2 glasses remained. One untouched, the other empty. She picked up the letter one last time, then tossed it into the fireplace. The flames caught quickly, consuming the evidence, the past, the pain. And when it was gone, she turned away without looking back,